In the bustling streets of Seoul, where tradition and modernity collide, a simple decision sends shockwaves through a family, challenging societal norms and exploring the depths of human consciousness. This is the story of The Vegetarian, a haunting novel by Han Kang, the 2024 Nobel laureate in literature. It explores the mind of Young Hae, a woman whose choice to stop eating meat results in a profound transformation. Han Kang has crafted her award-winning novel in 3 distinct parts, each narrated from a different perspective. This triptych structure allows us to view Young Hae's transformation through multiple lenses, each offering a new layer of understanding and complexity.
The first part, titled The Vegetarian, is narrated by Mr. Chung, Young Hae's husband. Through his eyes, we witness the initial shock and confusions surrounding Young Hae's decision. The second part, Mongolian Mark, shifts to the perspective of Young Hae's brother-in-law, an artist who becomes obsessed with her. Finally, the third part, Flaming Trees, is told from the viewpoint of In Hae, Young Hae's older sister, offering the most intimate and empathetic portrayal of Young Hae's journey. This 3-part structure is more than just a stylistic choice. It reflects the fractured nature of Young Hae's existence and the varying ways in which society views and interprets her actions. As we progress through each section, we'll see how these different perspectives contribute to our understanding of Young Hae and the themes of the novel.
Mr. Chung, Young Hae's husband, chose her precisely for her passivity. He desired an uncomplicated life, one free from the turbulence of passion or unpredictability. For 5 uneventful years, they coexisted in a marriage devoid of deep connection or understanding. Then one night, everything changed. At 4 a.m., Mr. Chung awoke to find Young Hae standing before the open refrigerator, bathed in its cold light. She mentioned a dream, a vague, unsettling vision that she refused to elaborate on. The following morning, he discovered that all the meat in their home had been discarded. Young Hae declared she would no longer consume animal products.
This decision was not just about diet. It was a rupture in the fabric of their mundane existence. Young Hae began to lose weight, her cheeks hollowing out as insomnia took hold. Physical intimacy between them ceased, widening the chasm that had always existed but never acknowledged. Mr. Chung was baffled and increasingly frustrated. He couldn't fathom why his compliant wife had suddenly become so obstinate. His attempts to persuade her back to their old ways were met with quiet defiance. The situation escalated during a family dinner at her sister In Hae's home. Pressured by her family, Young Hae steadfastly refused to eat meat. Her father, a stern man accustomed to obedience, became enraged. In a shocking display, he tried to force-feed her. In the ensuing chaos, Young Hae grabbed a fruit knife and slashed her wrist, a desperate act that stunned everyone into silence.
At the hospital, the family's concern was overshadowed by their inability to understand her. They continued to press her to abandon her vegetarianism, convinced that returning to her old habits would heal her fractured mind. Her mother even brought black goat soup, disguising it as herbal medicine. But Young Hae saw through the ruse and rejected it vehemently. Mr. Chung felt more alienated than ever. His wife's transformation was a mirror reflecting his own shortcomings, a reality he was unwilling to face.
Young Hae's inner world began to seep into the narrative through vivid dream sequences. Memories of childhood trauma surfaced, her father killing a dog that had bitten her, then forcing her to eat its meat. Her dreams were filled with violent images, blood, and the haunting faces of animals she felt were trapped inside her. One day, Mr. Chung found her in the hospital garden, sitting naked on a bench with a bleeding wrist, holding a crushed bird in her hand. The sight was both horrifying and symbolic, a culmination of her internal struggle made manifest. Young Hae's rejection of societal norms was not just about food. It was a rebellion against the invisible chains that bound her. Her vegetarianism became a powerful symbol of autonomy in a world that demanded conformity.
The second part of the novel, Mongolian Mark, introduces a new narrator, Young Hae's brother-in-law. This shift in perspective allows us to see Young Hae through a different lens. that of an artist who becomes captivated by her transformation of becoming a vegetarian. Young Hae's brother-in-law is an artist trapped in the monotony of domestic life. Learning that Young Hae still bore a Mongolian mark, a birthmark typically faded after infancy, ignited an artistic obsession within him. He envisioned a project that blurred the lines between art and desire.
Approaching Young Hae with his idea, he was surprised by her acquiescence. In the privacy of his rented studio, he painted flowers across her naked body, filming the process. The act was intimate, charged with an undercurrent of forbidden attraction. Unsatisfied with the initial footage, he sought to expand the project. He invited a fellow artist, hoping to capture the interplay of painted bodies in motion. But when his collaborator withdrew, uncomfortable with the implications, he took matters into his own hands. In a moment of reckless abandon, he painted his own body and joined Young Hae in front of the camera. Their physical union was both an artistic expression and a transgression of moral boundaries. The next morning, they were discovered by In Hee, his wife, and Young Hae's sister. The fallout was immediate and devastating. Accusations flew, and the fragile threads holding their lives together unraveled. In Hee, overwhelmed by betrayal and concern for her sister's well-being, called for medical intervention.
The final part of the novel brings us closest to understanding Young Hae through the eyes of her older sister, In Hee. This third perspective offers the most intimate and compassionate view of Young Hae's journey. Young Hae's descent continued, and she was institutionalized. Her grip on reality loosened as she embraced the belief that she could subsist on sunlight alone, like a plant. Refusing food altogether, she stood on her hands in the hospital garden, insisting she was transforming into a tree. As Young Hae's mental state deteriorates, In Hee grapples with her own guilt. In Hee is also haunted by family responsibility questions. Could she have prevented this spiral? Was she too complicit in the silent suffering that had consumed her sister?
As she visited Young Hae in the hospital, In Hee reflected on their shared past, their strict upbringing, the unnoticed cracks in their familial relationships, the societal pressures that dictated their choices. The doctors warned that Young Hae's condition was dire. Attempts to feed her resulted in violent reactions. A harrowing scene unfolded as medical staff tried to insert a feeding tube, only for Young Hae to resist so fiercely that she vomited blood. In the ambulance, as Young Hae was transferred to a general hospital, In Hee gazed out the window. The trees blurred past, and she felt a profound connection to the imagery that had consumed her sister. The boundaries between reality and dreams seemed to fade. She pondered the nature of existence, the roles they were expected to play, and the unseen battles waged within the confines of the mind. In Hee recognized that Young Hae's transformation was not insanity, but perhaps a desperate escape from an unbearable reality.
We don't directly hear Young Hae's narrative. Instead, the story unfolds through the perspectives of other characters. The book weaves through the external perspective of Young Hae's husband, the artistic obsession of her brother-in-law, and finally, the empathetic understanding of her sister. This three-part structure allows us to gradually peel back the layers of Young Hae's psyche. The Vegetarian is not just a story about refusing to eat meat. It's an allegory for the violence inherent in human nature and society. It questions our relationship with our bodies, our families, and the world around us. Young Hae's desire to become a tree, to root herself in the earth and sustain herself through photosynthesis, is a rejection of the human condition itself.
As readers, we're left to ponder, is Young Hae's transformation a descent into madness or an ascent to a higher plane of existence? Is her vegetarianism a form of protest against societal violence or a manifestation of deep-seated trauma? Han Kang offers no easy answers, instead inviting us to explore the boundaries of our own humanity. The Vegetarian is a universal tale of rebellion, transformation, and the search for meaning in a world that often seems devoid of it. It challenges us to question our assumptions, to look beyond the surface, and to consider the true cost of the lives we choose to lead.
The reader is left with an uneasy question that lingers at the end. Isn't self-destruction another form of violence? Violence begets violence, and to end such a dooming spiral, we really need the help of others. Hence, the novel tells the narrative from the perspectives of those around Young-hae. It emphasizes the importance of the viewpoints of those surrounding her and the need to take action for victims of violence. By acting with heartfelt care, empathy, and proactive efforts to help wounded souls, we can end the violence altogether.